It's actually great. As you were saying this, I was like looking over your head. This may be the only space at Harvard not named after like a random rich guy who gave a lot of money. So it's great that you're sitting under John F. Kennedy Jr.'s name. They're going to replace it with Epstein soon, but it's nice that
no, they won't.
It's there for now. Yeah. It's like a delayed contract. So, look, I started to feel something and observe something some years ago that led to the book, and I'll just share the kernel of that. And the observation was really a double observation about American life in this very weird time when so many weird things were happening, and the question on so many people's minds was, why is this happening? To quote the title of Chris Hayes' excellent podcast. Why is this happening is a very dominant, not just question, but emotion right now. Why is this happening? And there's a lot in any given day to add fodder to the why is this happening, from the most dangerous president in American history to the more tectonic kind of fundamental shifts going on. So I observed two things. Thing one was that whether you're in a university like this, or on Wall Street, or in Silicon Valley, or any number of other spaces in American life, elite spaces, you couldn't walk down the street without bumping into hyper-privileged, and in many cases, incredibly rich people doing everything they could to change the world, right? And you know this at Harvard because you've educated like half of the worst ones. But the good news is they all dropped that. The really worst ones dropped out, so you can absolve yourself of some responsibility.
You dropped out, right?
I did, but exactly. I know. Something Mark Zuckerberg and I have in common.
Right.
And it's everything from philanthropy, the richest people giving away more money than ever been given away in the history of the world. You know that. Every company, right? Which big company today does not actively engage in CSR? I always say, like, the worse the company, the bigger the tab on the website is. Like community, or like healthful solution. Like if your company literally kills people in the business model, not as an incidental byproduct, then that tab is going to be even bigger, and it'll be like life-giving solutions or something like that. All these new tools and modalities, again, practiced, researched at places like this, inspiring to a lot of people in places like this. Impact investing. How many of you are involved in studying or thinking about impact investing? Social enterprise, right? How many of you mess with that? Okay. Various tools that are promising us that some of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the world, some of the wealthiest, most powerful institutions in the world, have the solutions to the problems of an age of plutocracy. And they've checked, and like as with Dick Cheney's vice presidential search, they looked around and the solution turns out to be them. And we saw how that ended. Look, we all recognize the awkwardness of me talking about the elite charade of changing the world at Google. So let's just name that up front and be aware of that and be aware of our feelings, complicated feelings we may have. This is going to be like therapy. The first proposition is that we live in an age of extraordinary generosity by any measure. Some of you may just have seen the Bezos announcement a couple hours ago, which only is the latest installment in very wealthy people who've done very well, many of them in the technology realm, deciding they want to give back, deciding they want to make a difference. 184 people have signed the Giving Pledge. I think American philanthropy is now $410 billion a year being given away, which is starting to approach the level of non-military discretionary spending by the federal government. Every young person, and that includes many of you, but you go to any campus, like every young person wants to change the world. There talks about making a difference in millions of lives, starting a social enterprise. People tell you they've just come back from Africa where they started some organization to recycle poop into coffee, or there's all these kinds of efforts everywhere you look. of elites using their skills and talents to try to respond to an age of extreme inequality in the United States, an age of extreme anger, and do something.